Hello, what is up, everyone? What is up? Okay, I'm coming back with a little quick update on my vintage F1 car. I have done the very first two test drives that I filmed. I posted a little bit of what I filmed yesterday and today. It's really difficult to find times when the rain is not pouring, so I've been pretty lucky. So, the first test yesterday, I was very happy driving the car. I was happy about the where the tire gripped and so on. But it was challenging. It was very similar to the first time I ran the F103 GT with the changes that I made before, the big wheels and so on, before I added the gyro. So I knew I had to have the gyro into the car, but I think it was a good thing to see the way the car behaved completely out of the box, even though there ain't no box for it. So, since yesterday, I had the addition of the gyro over there. It is all the way to the front, which is not ideal. It used to be much more central in the F103, but it's fine. I just tuned it differently on the mix, on the gyro mix on the remotes, and once it was tuned, it's a little bit more aggressive than it was on the F103, but it's somewhat less intrusive. I'm not sure how to explain that, but it works marvels. So since the gyro, enormous improvements to the amounts of cornering speeds that I can get both entering the corners and exiting the corners. So this is really what makes the big difference for that cars with, of course, the look. You can't get away from the narrow tires, but this is the limitations, of course, is that those tires, well, they lack grip compared to a super wide, very, very grippy F1 tires, and knowing that those are not, those are buggy tires from Tamiya, so they're not excellent. But with additives on the tires and the gyro you'll see on the video, the speed is really decent, and I'm still learning the handling of the car, so I can't drive it very proficiently at the moment. But when I used to run the F103 GT, I could stay in the pack with the F1s, not easily, but I could stick with them. And I feel driving this today, when this was only touring cars on the track and I was not struggling. I couldn't keep up, of course, at all with the touring cars, but I didn't feel like I was a stone in the middle of the racetrack. So that was great. I feel this is going to be probably is going to end up better than the F103 GT, just because of the adjustability that I have that I didn't have on the F103, especially on the front end. The main thing that I did is I start to open the camber in the front, so you can see I have no idea how many degrees. I have no gauges at home, but it's past 90 degrees. It's lower than 90 now, so I don't know, 85 or something. It's a little bit opened. The first time yesterday I ran it with a little bit closed camber in the front, and the car has very little understeer because of the enormous weight that the V12 adds to the front. So I've only ran the car with the V12 at the moment, and I really want to run it with the V12, but I need to see how the car is going to behave without removing this, which is really a few hundred grams. That's going to make an enormous difference to the front of the car. I think with a more understeer, the car is going to be even quicker in and out of the corners, but you know, that's not how I want to run it for myself. But I need to see, I need to try to make it perform as best as I can. And I'm still running the 17.5 here with the 60 amp ESC, no turbo. I think I'm still going to try just stock, Hobbywing just stock with a 25.5, because I think that's going to be ideal. The thing is that the weight of the car, which is really heavy once you have the four wheels, are serious weight. The motor and then the chassis, the diffuser, the body, everything added together makes for, it's a big machine, it's a heavy machine, and you can feel it when you're trying to brake and you're trying to accelerate, and all the momentum you have as well in and out of the corners. So surprisingly, it doesn't disturb the oversteer so much, especially with the help of the gyro. So it's not really the side to side, but it's really more about trying to slow down those enormous tires. Those are really big diameters. So I think a torquier motor with less top hand is going to help. I need to give it a try, and I think a battery SC than the quick run that I have here is going to probably make a bit of a difference. The power HD over there is perfect for what I'm using. I've only used the low center of gravity shorty lipos here, and I really like it. The rear, everything is really good. Everything is really low. The car really doesn't flip to its side. The F103 GT was doing it a lot more than this one. I had a crazy flip. I'm not sure what happened. I think that the car get cut at the end of the straight. It's in the very beginning of the running video. That was like after the first straight line, and then I never flipped the car again. So durability, I'm happy. That's a good test for durability. The other thing that I'm really happy for durability is those SLA prints that I have. So I've only ran the hollow one. You can see, can you? Those are hollow. The rims you can see through. Yes. And so I was worried that those would be weak, and so far they're really not. When I ran the, let me show you the original wheels. Okay, here they are. This is the rims that I print by myself before for the F103 GT, which are the same that I print for my Morgan freewheeler. So those are ABS filament prints, and they have a very weak point, which is the center here. And the car, I could never run traction juice on the F103 GT, because if I did, the grip would be too much and the car would break the center here. So those tires would do it all the time, and I was worried with those that it would do the same. I've never used SLA for rims so far. I've only used ABS, and I have never had the problem with the ABS outside of these rims. I think it's just because of the size that they have, and they just carry a lot of momentum when they move. With these, so far so good. I ran 4 battery packs, 0 damage to report to any of the rims or any part of the car in particular. So I'm really pleased with this. So the sky is extremely dark again. It's going to pour rain for who knows how long, so I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to bring it back to the track, but next time around, when I can, I'm going to bring it to a faster, flatter track and see how it goes, just to test the difference. So that is the update for the vintage F1 chassis. Hope you guys are as excited as I am about this chassis. I'm now going to finish the tuning up of everything. The suspension on the crazy bumpy track works amazingly well with this system that I have, which is those 2 touring shocks that are mounted pretty much not flat, but at a slight angle down. The T-plate, I am not locking this side of the T-plate, so the T-plate is on its loosest setting. It's not stiffened by the screw here. And so far, really pleased with the Team Saxo front end. I had never used this one before, and I've never used their F1 axle at the rear. I'm only using their 112 pan axle, so both are really good and they are really good value. So I believe those are what I'm going to carry on for the low production runs that I'm going to do. All the SLA parts are holding super well. The diffuser, even the crazy crash that I've had, nothing has broken. On the body as well, you can see that even though this guy tumbled on his head really violently at full speed at the end of the straight line, probably 3 or 4 times, no damage to report. So I think this, after a little bit more testing and setting of the electronic, is going to be ready to start doing a small run. I'm probably going to make something like 10 kits to start, 5 or 10 kits, something like that, and see where it goes. So That's it for the vintage F1 car. And on the chassis front, because I've been driving as well my pancar a lot, I'm going to test the FRP version. Because the FRP version, of course this is all FRP, I'm not using carbon fiber. That allows me to keep the costs crazy amounts down compared to when I use the supplier for carbon fiber. So far so good. This is behaving really well, and I'm going to do the same. So those I can compare of course with the carbon, because as well the F103 GT from Tamiya is an FRP chassis of a similar thickness. So this is what it is. I can compare it with a carbon version. However, I'm gonna compare the pan chassis with the FRP. I have the carbon version, so this is the FRP version. With as well, instead of having the ABS printed C hubs, I have the SLA C hubs. So I have to see how those survive. The ABS are amazing in their strength. They are really good, but I understand that people kind of tend to go away from it. So I'm gonna test those, see how they go, and I should have sometime this month the aluminum C hubs as well that I'm going to test. So we'll test the SLA, we'll test the FRP version of the car, and I'm going to do the same but later on with the trike as well, because this way I can make those a lot more affordable. I can cut, I don't know, maybe 30-40 US dollar from the price if I manage well. So I think this is going to make those a bit more attractive than at the moment. So this is being built. It's gonna be given to one of my friend who drives like an absolute mental patient. So it's going to do a lot of crash tests with it, not voluntary, and from that I'll be able to see how was the strength of the SLA part. And I don't have worried about the strength of the FRP compared to the carbon. It's really similar. It's just about, I think the flex is different because the material flexes differently, so it's hard to tell by hand. It seems to be a little stiffer than the carbon, but without all the weight on it, it's really hard to see. I think it's much easier to just compare by driving it. I'm pretty used to drive the 112 now, so that and the trike 1.1 is probably gonna have the same treatment later on. So this is the quick update for this weekend with my big cars. And on the small cars front, you can expect probably very soon this week to have the Euro trucks coming out. I'm gonna have this cab. I have the wing, of course, that is gonna be optional to put at the back, and this time is gonna be easy to mount on the regular body post, as opposed to my first Euro truck when the cab was attached together. It was a one-piece thing, so you had to have the Kyosho mount, double-sided tape. That worked, but I understand that it didn't please everyone. So this is wider. It's completely new design. You have everything. You have the bumper at the back, you have the nice motor, and so on. So I have this cab that goes on it, and then I'm gonna have another version with the similar cab to the first one that I ran before. And then there is this enormous, really cool wing that mounts over there at the back, and because it is on a curve, of course, you can decide to screw it pretty much any direction you'd like to change the angle of attack. And so this is going to be my work for the week. The stickers are done for that. I'm going to do a paint job, and early next week you're going to see some pictures of that mini buddy. Alright, on that note, everybody have a good weekend, a good Sunday, and stay safe. See you soon. Bye bye.